Fairbanks Focus is a locally produced public affairs program created in part by University of Alaska Fairbanks, KTVF, and Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us here at Fairbanks Focus Alaska View. Today I am joined by Juliet Shepard and John Stoneman. They are the winners of this last week's Business Startup Weekend. And so thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
So I know our viewers out there, some of them probably don't know what the Business Startup Weekend is, and so I kind of wanted to start with just talking about what that is and how you guys heard about it.
Well, sure. The Startup Weekend is actually something, we had actually come together as a group before the Startup Weekend to look into ways you can promote socially sustainable, financially sustainable business here in Fairbanks. And we were looking for the Startup Weekend, and then we came across it and immediately signed up and attended because it was exactly what we were looking forward to. Well, it's a very intense 54 hours of fun, intense cooperation, and then pitching an idea that you do in front of a juried panel, and it's really a blast.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, for the purposes of coming up with a new business idea and gaining additional members in your group and be able to further an idea.
Cool. And is this the first time that Fairbanks has done this, or have you seen this other places? Or
It is the first time Fairbanks, but they have done it all around the world, actually.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we were looking at ones in various parts of the country and around the world, like Toronto and other places like that, to attend, possibly. And then we found this one here. So it was very serendipitous.
It was serendipitous.
Yes.
And we showed up, and basically what it looks like at the event, individuals come with their product ideas and their service ideas, and they have 60 seconds to get up and say something about it. There's a little template you follow, and basically you engage individuals in the room to support your idea, and then everybody has an opportunity to vote on the ideas, and then the favorites come together as teams. And then you work intensively for this 54 hours, and at the end you have an opportunity to present your 3-minute pitch. Yeah, about your business and say who you are and launch it. Yeah.
So it is very intense. Yes, it's all action, no talk. That's one of the taglines, actually.
All action, no talk.
And
So we did quite a bit of talking.
Right, but it's all action, no talk in the sense that you don't have anybody lecturing to you or telling you what to do. It is really very hands-on, and it's very much a part of putting together a team, putting in a lot of excitement, enthusiasm, developing an idea from a very starting point to actual being able to pitch as an idea that has some legs to move and grow. And
the business startup weekend is based upon it's a lean business model as opposed to building a business plan. It's a whole different process. So, yeah, which is sort of it's a newer concept, and basically that in that 54 hours you're working this process in order to develop your idea in advance, so that when you choose to launch your business, you're clearer about who the demographic is, what the need is, if it's a good fit. You've got the metrics to be able to determine whether or not it's feasible before you start the business. That's really the big news.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah.
Because it is a more efficient, more elegant, and more cost-effective way of doing business.
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like just a jump start to getting everything going.
Very much.
It is.
So
Yeah.
It is.
Very cool.
And we're looking forward to the next one next year. And so if people have thoughts and ideas about products or services and want to meet folks and recruit them to your team, this is a great opportunity to do that.
Well, so tell me a little bit about your guys' idea and what you brought to the table at this year's Business Weekend.
Okay.
Well, we came actually as a think tank, REM and Conventional Vision.
Okay.
And we actually brought 3 ideas we pitched initially.
Mm-hmm.
The winning idea, as in the one of ours that got the most votes, was the Fairbanks.
Fairbanks, yeah. Which is a bike share. It's basically a bike share program. So you see this in other cities internationally. They're all over the place. And we wondered what that might be like for Fairbanks. Would Fairbanks support that kind of service? And what we did is we explored that idea. And basically this is a point-to-point, an ad hoc point-to-point transportation system. There is no other such system in Fairbanks. So what it looks like is an individual can go to a bike share station, and lease a bike for either a ride, a day, or subscribe for a longer period of time, a month, a year, and drop it off at any other point in town. So it's a pickup, drop off, easy ride, super simple way of seeing Fairbanks. It's just a whole different way of interacting.
It's a way to get closer, be more in touch with the community. It's a way to get out, like in the summertime, to actually feel the wind and the sun and all those fun things, and be downtown and enjoy things that you don't get if you're behind a windshield.
Well, and we have so many great bike paths in Fairbanks
We do.
too. They're just beautiful, going along the river and everything else too. So that's pretty awesome.
So the thing that's so great about the bike share is that it's convenient. These will be points that'll be available along a corridor in town, so it'll be very easy and accessible to be able to pick up a bike, take it to a location, and not have to worry about necessarily returning it to another location, which makes it really possible and exciting to be able to impromptu go for a ride along the banks, or stop at your favorite specialty store. Or
One of the things we found in our research is that a lot of people really like the idea of being able to pick up something, drop it off, and not be responsible for, taking care of it after that. It's like, just use it and you're done with it.
so tourists and students and then locals who want to use it for
Commuters.
commuters.
Yeah.
It's a great
Well,
idea.
especially if you're just trying to get from point A to point B and don't necessarily need to get back to point A.
Right. Or if you don't want to purchase a bike, or maybe you arrived in town, you didn't bring your bike, or you just decide you want to go for a bike ride and you're already downtown, and you just want to hang out for a little bit, don't want to ride all the way back to get your bike.
Or if you want to extend, like if you're using a bus, and you want to extend from where the bus reaches to some other point, that works quite well also.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're really excited about this idea. So if there's something about this idea that sounds exciting to viewers and they want to check us out, come find us on Facebook.
That's right.
Just under
Fair
Fair
Bikes.
Fair
Fair
Bikes.
Bikes. Or you
Yeah,
can go to our
like us.
website, fairbikes.com. So www.fairbikes.com, or find us on Facebook. Yeah.
Cool. And so do you guys have like a plan to get this sort of started and going?
That's what we're working on. That's what we're working on right now. In fact, we're getting together with our team very shortly, because we, in fact, put together a team at the weekend, which wants to get together again and work both on this project and other projects. So
Yeah, so it's one of those ideas where you meet people, and next thing you know, there are more possibilities available. And so our REM group, our Unconventional Vision think tank, will be expanding, and we're looking to see what is possible with this idea.
And so REM is your guys' personal group that's just sort of, that gets together and just throws ideas around. Is that right?
essentially.
Right. It's how we came together, the three of us, along with Jen Eskridge, and we came together because we had this common interest in promoting the idea of sustainable and socially responsible business in Alaska. So we really started exploring all aspects of what's possible with that, all the way from helping nonprofits become self-sufficient and reduce their grant dependency by considering enterprise as a financial resource, all the way to working with the natural resource sector, the extraction and the metal mining industries, to be able to improve their social contribution, and maybe in internal communications, all sorts of things. So we're a resource, and we are available. And if you're interested in REM, Unconventional Vision, you can find us on Facebook, or you can go to our website at www.remforesight.com, remforesight.com.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things we like to emphasize is that we want to do well and do good.
Cool. Well, and in Fairbanks, of course, it's it's such an interesting town that we live in. Everybody just knows each other,
Yep.
And so to do well and do good and incorporate your neighbors is always something that I love about living here too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. And tell us, and speaking of your neighbors, you were telling me a little bit before about some of the other projects that you saw.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that one of the things we found exciting about this is the fact we're reaching out to the other people who are pitching ideas, because there's some really great ideas there, which we'd like to see move forward as well. We had Open Range.
I think it was F4.
F4.
Food for Fairbanks, fresh food for Fairbanks.
Oh, nice.
Open Range Chickens.
Free range chickens, locally produced. And
Wind Cubed.
Wind Cubed.
Which is a very dynamic wind turbine design that was being pitched.
So lots of other ideas. that were folks came together with great ideas and stuff that we absolutely want to see starting up in the community. Yeah.
And one of the things that was really exciting about this weekend is it gave a chance to connect not only with other people and other teams, but with a lot of the tech community to try and help develop these ideas. It was very dynamic, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. And you got to see teams build around these different ideas and then generate more ideas. It was lots of fun.
Yeah.
Lots of fun.
It does seem like there's a common interest in the idea of developing sustainable business. I mean, it's an undercurrent and a connecting theme with Fairbanks business currently. And I know with our REM group, one of the points we emphasize is this idea of a triple bottom line. So businesses that are interested in not only using financial metrics but also considering some social metrics in their value is a significant fundamental piece that ties what we bring to Fairbanks and what we are. And I would like to say that we have an event coming up because one of the most important facets of developing a triple bottom line or being socially sustainable or developing corporate social responsibility would be the idea that you're actually promoting win-win outcomes, which, as opposed to winner take all, which is really a little bit of a different way of working. And one of the key values in doing this, or skill sets that's necessary, would be dealing with conflicts. So we have our first event that we're sponsoring. The first week of May is Transforming Conflicts. It's a way to interact with difficult situations and form connection instead of polarization. And that will be the first week in May. If you're interested in hearing more about that, you can go to our REM Facebook page, and we'll have a link to that registration website. Or you can go to www.regonline.com/transforming conflicts.
So, and is that just like a sort of a weekend seminar you're going to have with people?
It's an intense experiential hands-on workshop. So
Okay.
so if you have lots of people don't enjoy confrontation. I'm not sure I know anybody who does, but really being able to reframe the situation so that you can interact with it differently really does lead to different possibilities. So in this weekend intensive, individuals will be able to address actual conflicts in practice.
So is it kind of like finding opportunity when you find challenges?
Precisely, finding the gem in the difficult situation. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and that's always a needed skill
Yes.
whenever you're working in any kind of business.
Any kind of business.
But even more so, I think, when you're working on something that's sustainable and something that helps in the world that we live in, in the community.
Yeah, being able to partner instead of become polarized.
Well, especially when you look for the win-win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and we live in such a place that it's so hard to get access to things, sometimes still in Fairbanks, that it's nice to know that there's people out there that want to sustain it, want to keep it moving, want to keep waste at a minimum, and like you said, create a win-win for everybody involved, rather than just, this is going to take off and it's going to be great for us. But who else is it going to benefit? So that's pretty awesome.
And in the long run, who's going to benefit? And how can we keep this wealth resources happening in Alaska? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to let our viewers know out there?
Maybe just, come see us at Fairbanks.com. We are your connection to the community, and that's live, share, ride. Fairbanks.com.
Awesome. And thanks again for coming. And, the Startup Weekend sounds like it's going to be an annual event from here on out, sponsored by a bunch of people here in town, from Doyon to the Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation, and that's pretty exciting. I mean, we need more sustainable, friendly, community-friendly businesses. So I'm pretty excited about Fairbanks.
So are we.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for coming on again today. And that about does it for me here at Fairbanks Focus Alaska View. Was there anything else you'd like to let the viewers know?
Come check us out.
Come check us out, Fairbanks.com.
Fairbanks.com, guys. Thanks again. And next up, we have Samantha Larson.
Hello there, and thank you for joining us again. I'm Samantha Larson with the Fairbanks Focus, Alaska View. Today is an extra special episode of this show because we have on Leah and Lena of Leah and Lena's Cooking. They are the newest YouTube sensation in Fairbanks with their cooking show. Their recipes range from Oreo truffles, which we have on today, to Russian borscht and Russian eggplant. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Good to be here.
How's it going? Feeling pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, how did this whole cooking phenomenon start?
Well, first of all, I mean, we're best friends.
Yeah.
So we hang out all the time. And with Yelena and I, one thing we love to do is cook. We cook together a lot.
All the time.
Yes. So like we decided one day that, hey, let's do something. And we decided to do a show. And cooking just kind of fell into place, so we did a cooking show.
It's something you love, it's your hobby?
Yes.
How long have you guys each been cooking for? I mean, like legitimately in the kitchen, you know, not just Pop-Tarts and cereal, but I mean.
Probably at least for 10 years.
Yeah?
Yeah, like off and on when I was a kid, but 10 years probably.
So it's kind of something that you grew up doing,
Yes.
learning from family?
Yes.
For me, it was since I was 10, and the first thing I learned to make was borscht.
Really? Why is that? Why borscht?
Just our family, Russian culture, so it's a big staple, a big dish that everybody makes. So
Is that something easy? Is that something you like to make?
I do. I like it.
Yeah?
I like complicated or multiple step processes.
I've never had it. I've never made it. I'll be honest, I'm kind of intimidated by that. Just the word scares me. But so who are your influences, you know, growing up cooking? Family members, grandmother?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, big one was my grandmother. Yeah, both of my grandmothers, for both sides. But they'd teach me here and there. Every time they would visit, we'd make something, you know, we'd get all together.
Yeah.
And we'd always make meals. They'd talk us through it, so we'd learn ourselves. And then my mom and dad too, you know, making something, learning different things, getting into it.
So it was kind of fun, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, you wanted to do it rather than, you know, hating being in the kitchen, you know, you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to ask you, being in Alaska since I moved here, you know, with it being cold outside and dark for a certain amount of time, I've been cooking a whole lot more, trying a much wider range, variety recipes. Do you think that's something that plays into your cooking? You know, being in Alaska and trying to find more things to do inside when you can't go outside?
I think we have to cook a little bit more.
Yeah.
And plus, like, in the winter, I mean, you're by yourself a lot, especially in Alaska, so, you know, it's too cold to be outside. And,
Right.
of course, with cooking, everybody has to eat. And so, like, you're making a meal regardless of what it may be.
Right.
So, I mean, Alaska does have that huge influence, especially in the wintertime, because you can't go outside or you don't want, you know, you have to do something. And, you know, especially if even just when you're bored. I mean, it doesn't have to be a meal, but, you know, just something to do as well.
You
Right.
have to scavenge your cupboards and everything because when it's 40 below, you don't really want to go out to eat or, you know, to the store, so you kind of want to make something.
I mean, that has to be a fun aspect of it, you know? Like, okay, I've got this, and this. What can I make that I would actually want to eat using these things? So that kind of has to, you know, put a little bit of fun and more fun into it, I think. Do you guys think so?
I think it could be intimidating at first, but you just have to have fun with it and expect mess ups, and then that's how you create recipes.
Oh yeah, everybody. When you're cooking, you have to mess up to learn. I mean, it's like, you know, when you're watching the Food Network, you know, and you see Giada make this really lovely meal. It just looks great, and then you make it, and it's like, okay, why does hers look like that? Why does mine look like someone sat on it? You know, like why is that? But I have to say, in your YouTube video where you guys made these Oreo truffles, not these specifically, but you know, you did the recipe. One of the things that I really enjoyed about that segment was that as you were making the Oreo truffles, you stopped halfway and you said, okay, this isn't working, so we put them in the freezer, and you know, then it's going to work. They're going to hold together. And I think that was really cool about your segment, because on most cooking shows, you know, like I just said, they make it, it looks great, and you can't figure out why yours looks like this. So I think it's cool that you guys throw in there, hey, if yours looks like this is why that, you know, this is what you should do to correct that. So I think that's super cool. And something else that I think is really unique about you guys and what you're doing is that I feel like most females, especially in their, 20s, don't cook as much as they used to, 20 years ago. Do you guys, why do you guys love to cook, being in that age range?
I always wanted to cook. It was my goal to learn how to cook, but I was kind of intimidated and scared with the way that, just basic cooking works or how to turn the stove on. I think everybody goes through that. You have to
The learning
move past
phase.
that. Or just putting food together and, certain things work and certain things don't. And then eventually you learn that this tastes good with this. And
Do you think it's most, oh, sorry, Leah, you were going to say something?
I was going to say that I think a big part of it was being taught. I mean, a lot of times you don't know how to cook because no one's teaching you.
Right.
And so if you had somebody there being like, okay, no, it's all right. You dropped an egg on the floor and you feel that you're like, uh-oh.
Don't cry over a broken egg.
Yeah, it's like, it's fine, pick it up. But like having people in my family like walk alongside me and being like, okay, let's make a salad, something simple, right? Putting it together and it's like, oh, and then going to the store and selecting stuff together, making it fun, like an outside of, just buying a bag that's already prepared.
Yeah.
All right, let's look through the vegetables and all this other stuff. It makes it so much more fun when you have somebody who can be like, all right, let me give you some tips.
Right.
Or let me teach you something. And like that's one thing that we want to do with our show is like, just show, like make it fun, make it family oriented, grab a friend or maybe somebody else you can do it with.
Yeah.
And then through that process, learn.
Absolutely. It's not scary. Don't be intimidated. It's fun,
Yes.
well, it gets fun. It's first. It's it's like a chore, and then
A lot of people,
because you have to learn how to use things the right way. But then when you move past that, it becomes really fun. You get to create a lot of recipes and it's easy when you learn, like when people are there to teach you. Because that's how I grew up. My family taught me. If I didn't have my family, it would definitely be an intimidating thing. But
well, and then you make it, and people try, and they're like, "Oh, this is so good," and then you get that boost of confidence, and you want to keep doing it, and you want to, build your knowledge of recipes, and So tell me, what would have to be each of your favorite recipes to make that you enjoy the most, eating or preparing?
Oh, mine definitely is cinnamon rolls.
Oh, God.
It's lots of fun. In the aspect of like, well, that was one recipe that my grandma taught me. And like, it's really fun because like different parts or at different ages, she taught me how to do it.
Right.
Like when we're little, it's like, okay, here's the stuff, and she made it. But recently when she visited me a couple months ago this last summer, and she was just talking me through the whole thing. She's like, all right, you're gonna do it by yourself. And I'm like, oh, but I went through the whole thing and it gave me confidence of, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really love that recipe too because it is a family recipe.
Right.
But also because, I mean, it's enjoyable and it's fun to see everybody eating it and loving it. Like you were saying earlier, it's like,
that's the best part.
Yes. And then knowing that, hey, I'm bringing them joy, and seeing your product at the end, what you've been working on.
I love it. I love cooking. And my grandmother is the same way. I mean, she's, old school Southern all the way. It's like in her household, it's food, God, and football, all day long. So, growing up, she made chicken fried steak and all these things. And it's like, hey, Nana, can you make me this? And now I'm like, hey, Nana, can you make me this? She's like, nope, you know how. You can do it. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's growing up and learning. And
I love making borscht because I grew up eating that.
Yeah.
It's such a Russian food. If
makes you happy.
And then salads, because we always had gardens, my family, so I'd go pick fresh vegetables.
That's awesome.
And create a bunch of really unique salads.
Oh man, that sounds good. So what, as far as doing the cooking shows online, do you guys see that going any further? I mean, do you guys have aspirations to maybe someday be on the Food Network or, the Food Channel? Maybe?
As for that one, yes, we want to keep going.
Yeah.
And wherever it may take us, that'd be amazing. But we have goals, like going somewhere with it, but we also know that it's a step-by-step process.
Right.
But
we have dreams. We're dreaming about it. So yeah, we do.
And we're going after those dreams.
Yeah.
So I guess yes to your question.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think you guys will, slowly but surely. Everybody has to start somewhere. And like I said, I think it's great what you guys are doing because a lot of our generation they don't want to cook anymore. Everything's out of the box or it's Taco Bell or McDonald's. And, if that's what you want to eat, that's fine. But you know, I'm all for old-fashioned home meal. And you know, like you said in our prior interview, no one's ever said, "Oh, gross, a home-cooked meal." You know.
No.
So
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. And you said your families are really backing you guys on this and supporting you.
Of course, yeah.
That was the whole fun of it because we have families from out of state, and when we just first started, they were our biggest support, and they were giving us tips and
Calling us up and being like, we saw your show, we're gonna try the recipe, and then like, or just encouraging us, and like my dad got even more excited. I was like, Dad, and he's like, then you can do this, you can make jams, or hey, you can even like, you know, giving us all this advice. I mean, and good advice. But it was adorable seeing like everybody that you care about backing you up and being like, you can do this, you know, which made it even better.
That's great. You know, family support is the strongest, you know, when they are really behind you and everything like that. Now, are they your strongest critics also when it comes to cooking?
yes.
Yeah.
They'll tell you like it is.
Yeah, but they're in a positive way, yeah.
Of course. I mean, I think you need that. You need a structure of, all right, yes, you did this well, but you need to work on, say, like, the length of the video.
Right.
Or you guys pause too much. Or you don't need to be showing so much of the scene because it takes like 5 minutes, but you know, you're just static or whatever.
Right.
You know, so they're critiquing in good ways. It's only going to make us get better. And I think even if you don't, because a lot of people don't have family around, like up in Alaska, or they're by themselves going to school or whatever, having a core friend group or just having a support group, you know, around you is what's going to, you know, whatever dream it may be, critiquing you and encouraging you and being like, all right, you can do this, going after your dream. So like, that's actually a biggest part of our success is having our family being like, you guys can do this and we're supporting you guys.
Just real quick, what would be a little bit of advice for, you know, anybody out there who is trying to learn how to cook or wants to get into cooking?
I think a big, like, if I had to give anything, I'd be like, don't be afraid.
Yeah,
don't be afraid.
Because, like, a lot of times you think, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm going to leave that cooking to somebody who knows how, you know? But the whole point is that you can learn.
Right.
You know, wherever you're starting from, you're going to be okay to learn. I'd say that just pace yourself. Start with small things, like fresh food. Like,
follow the recipe.
Do it. Well, tell our viewers just real quick how they can view your videos.
You can go ahead.
You can get on YouTube, go to Lena's and Leah's Cooking Show, and you can also find us and like us on Facebook. We usually put up pictures and recipes.
Cool. All right. You heard it. Leah and Lena's Cooking Show on YouTube.com. Just real quick before we're done with the show for the day, I'm going to try one of these Oreo truffles that they made. Okay. Don't tell my workout buddy if you're watching. Let's see. Oh my God. Fabulous. I can feel it going right to my thighs. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here today on the Fairbanks Focus Alaska View. I'm Samantha Larson with Leah and Lena of Leah and Lena's Cooking. Have a good one, Fairbanks.